Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited for our next guest, Nick Bell. And I'm not going to lie, I was quite shocked that he said yes when I asked him to be on my podcast
I'm not that
because
sorry.
I've been following you on LinkedIn for quite a while, and it's funny because your head's on LinkedIn quite a bit, so I feel like I know you already. Yeah, so I'm sure that you get that a lot, that people say, I feel like I know you because you're quite active on LinkedIn. But I'm really excited today to hear your personal story, because I'm sure that there is a story behind the story, that you didn't wake up one day and own 12 digital agencies. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And I guess the first question I like to ask people is, if you're at a barbie or at a party and someone says, "Hey, Nick, what do you do?" How the fuck do you explain what it is you do?
Well, if I'm at a barbecue or at a party, that's a networking opportunity. So I do that as a way to potentially win some new business. So I tell them that I've got digital agencies specializing in marketing, software development, reputation management. For me, that's always an opportunity to win new business. So basically tell them about my services. But it may not happen, but sometimes you do win some business, so happy days.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I also feel like that whenever you're anywhere, oh no, my doorbell has just gone.
Isolation. Mine can go any time, so just be wary of that.
That's all right. That's actually Uber Eats. I just ordered some lunch. Whoops. I'll have
to. I can wait.
No. That's all right. That's all right. It can sit there. It's all good. I can reheat it. But I guess the next question is, what's the story behind the story? So where did it all start for Nick Bell? I noticed on your LinkedIn profile it says that you're a university dropout. So I would love to go right back to the beginning. So where did you grow up and how did you end up where you are now?
Yeah, I grew up in a very small town near Bendigo on a cattle and sheep farm. So my parents had a small farm. So I grew up down in the country, went to school in the country, but I always wanted to live in the city. The farm life just wasn't for me. So as soon as I finished high school, I jetted off to London. Didn't tell my parents. And I said, Mum, I basically rang my parents from London and said, look, I'm in London. I'm not coming home. I'll see you in a year's time. So this is the day after I finished my year 12 exams as well.
Wow.
And yeah, I knew I did really poorly in high school. I'm showing my age here. My TER score was terrible. And I just passed, but I knew it was terrible. So I knew my parents would be pissed off. So I basically ran away overseas. And then when I came back after a year of being in London, I applied for university, applied for many universities, couldn't get into any decent ones, and finally got into one. I won't name their name because it wasn't great. And I studied a Bachelor of Business Marketing. And I think I was 6 weeks into the course, and I was just sitting there in a lecture going, this isn't for me. Just bored out of my brains. I want to work. I want to make some money.
Yeah.
So I jumped in the car, drove off, and then started working in hospitality and did a diploma in hospitality, which was nonsense. They teach you how to code plates, how to answer your telephone. Like, it was just basic stuff. But I wanted to do something just to please my parents.
Of course, yeah.
So please the parents. I studied part-time, worked full-time in a hotel and a restaurant. And from ages 18 to 24, I was lost. I was working in hospitality, did a bit of recruitment, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. And finally, at the age of 24, I started my first business, which was a skincare business. Don't ask me why I got into skincare. So I really got skin as a kid, and then I just thought I could start a skincare product that helps treat acne. So I launched that with about $100,000 that I'd saved up over the past 6 years.
Wow.
And I thought, I'm going to make $1 million in the first year. I'm going to kick some ass, make $1 million, and be rich by the time I'm 25. 4 years later, by the time I'm 28, I had actually gone backwards, lost all my money. I was making, I think, between $50 to $100 a week. And yeah, it was a tough slog, that business. And then I'd started a side hustle, which was then my digital marketing business from my bedroom. And then obviously that took off quite quickly.
Yeah.
Right. But like most people, I was lost from a young age. It's ingrained within us to go to high school, do extremely well, go to university, and then get a job. Especially 20 years ago. I'm obviously sure I'm age again, but it was like...
How old are you, by the way, if you don't mind sharing that with us?
I'm 39.
39?
Yep.
So you're still...
Almost 40. But it's like I said,
yeah.
High school degree, corporate job, make $100,000 a year, have the 2 kids and the partner, and then that's it.
That's it. Yep. I think so many people can resonate with that because I did the same thing. There's so much pressure, and I think that things are changing though. Like I've got a 7-year-old son, and he hates school, and I've basically said to him, if he wants to get out of going to school, then he needs to create a business or do something so he can support himself. So he's 7 and he's already thinking about how he can do that.
Really? That's amazing.
So what happened from there though? So when you were 28, you started this digital agency, and you've now got 12 digital agencies. I mean, I know about one of them, Removify, and I'm actually using your company at the moment.
Oh, you really? There you go.
So I was just checking an email before we got on this podcast from one of your team, and the experience has been very positive. You would be happy to hear. What a great business that is, Removify, because I work in HR, like I've got a HR consulting business.
Yep.
And one of the biggest issues is when an employee gets terminated or leaves an organisation, they leave these horrible reviews on not just one platform, normally 5, and sometimes a group of them get together and they just try and ruin businesses' reputation. So how did you come up with the idea of that business?
Look, it was purely out of demand. So I'll go back to when I was 28. So initially I needed some money just to pay the bills when I was 28, and my skincare business wasn't paying the bills. So I started reading about digital marketing. I thought I could sell this, and this is back in 2008. Because I read an article about SEO, which is search engine optimization. I thought I could sell it. So I basically got a website built in Vietnam for about $100, bought a second-hand mobile phone, and just started cold calling people from page 2 of Google. And I'd call a carpet cleaner, and I'd call someone else and say, look, you're on page 2, I can get you to page 1 to Google. And then within a few days, someone sent me a check for $10,000. I'm like, well, this is the most money I've seen in 4 years.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this is an actual business. And in the early days, I was just a middleman. So I would do the account management, take a cut, and I would outsource the technical side of the business or technical side of the work overseas.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the finances, the sales, the account management, quality control. And then once I'd saved enough money, then I hired internally. And then in our first month, I think we did $100,000, and in the second month, $300,000. And the business just kept doubling every month. And that was just from me making a lot of cold calls and hitting the phones. And then I hired someone to help, and the business was just exploding quite quickly. So yeah, it was purely off SEO, and that's still the foundation of our organization. So we've got 12 agencies around the world, and we're huge in the SEO space and obviously other parts of marketing. But yeah, it's kind of our bread and butter. And then Removify launched 12 months ago, and that came out of demand. So we've roughly got 10,000 clients with the other agencies, and clients were saying, look, I've got this negative piece of content, it's false, inflammatory, not justified. How do I remove it?
Yeah.
And we're like, we don't know how to remove it. And we were searching for people out there that can actually remove it. And the only ones we knew what were lawyers. Some lawyers dabbled in it. It wasn't their full-time profession. They said, look, we can try and do it for you, but we're not very good at it, but we'll happily take your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, give us a crack. We'll charge you $2,000, but there's no guarantees. And I thought, nah, that's bullshit.
It is.
Like, lawyers do my head in, personally. They're happy to charge the world and deliver nothing. Not going to words.
No, I agree.
It's fucking killed me. So we launched Removify, basically no win, no fee scenario. But before we launched, for 8 months, we practiced. So we practiced on Google, on Facebook, on Yelp. What else we got? On Glassdoor, on how to remove content.
Yep.
And people think that we've got a magic button that removes that content. It's not the case. So what we did, we put together an argument outlining why it deserves to be removed. Then we liaise with the publisher, being Google or Facebook, to get the content removed. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And then the publisher is a judge and jury. They kind of go, yes or no. If it's a yes, brilliant. If it's a no, then if we can't remove it, then probably no one can. And the business, we set that business up 12 months ago with only $12,000 because I had a bet with a mate of mine that I could set it up for under 20 grand. And he said I couldn't do it. No, what do you need? A website? Mm-hmm. You need selling, which I'll do the sales myself. So I jumped back on the phones for a month with a headset, cold calling companies, and we broke even in the first 2 weeks of the business. So and the business is gone bananas. Actually, it's got exploded because there's so much demand out there. There's so much defamatory content and false content out there that deserves to be removed. Because at the end of the day, anyone can post anything about anybody, and that's unfair.
It is. I love it. And I also read an article about you the other day, and I didn't realize that Removify also can be used if something to do with porn, or like if someone essentially shares a horrible video of someone, you can remove those as well. Is that right?
Yeah. So in the paper a few months ago, they named me the king of revenge porn.
Yes.
How the hell did I get that title? Only because we remove it. So there's a lot of cases out there where the sugar daddy has had a sugar baby. The sugar daddy's cut the sugar baby off, so stop paying their monthly fees. And the sugar baby said, stuff you, I'm going to post naked photos of you online so your wife and your kids can see it.
Ooh.
And that's so bloody common. So we get a lot of those cases. There's so much out there, and there are so many websites out there that just have unreal content. It's just insane content that deserves to be removed.
Yeah,
we had one very well known Australian, and there was some very defaming and awful content about him online. There was basically nude photos. He rang me and said, look, I need this content removed. And we said, yep, not a problem. We can have it done for you in 3 days. He's married with kids, and he goes, we said it's going to cost you $500. He goes, too expensive. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I said, mate, $500. That's it. Then go. So we said, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Personally, if that was me, I'm like, whatever it costs, just get it removed.
Exactly. Like this client that I basically sent them an email saying, look, it's $550 per review. There's 5 reviews and it's this amount of money, but how much is your reputation worth?
100%. It's everything.
It's worth way more than $2,000. So yes, I want them all removed. So yeah, I was shocked when I got the quote for him. I was actually shocked about how much it costs. I thought it was going to be way more.
Yeah, it's very affordable, and you only pay if we're successful.
Exactly.
So, it's a no-win, no-fee scenario. Anyways, so you Google his name, and the first thing popped up were all these images of him naked with another woman.
Nice.
It's incredible. Anyways, some of the stuff we see is unbelievable, but there's, like I said, there's definitely a demand for it. And And there's a lot of businesses and individuals hurting out there that someone's got a line, they're pissed off with them, and they're just writing absolute nonsense about that person. And it needs to be removed.
It does.
Yeah.
So you're really big on LinkedIn, and you post a lot of content out there on that platform. What's your advice to people around using LinkedIn to build their personal brand and their business? Because I think that some people see LinkedIn as a resume, others see it as a phone directory, but I think people like you see it as a way to network, and really it's a free platform essentially where you can build your profile and your following. Like, how many people do you have following you on LinkedIn?
Only until a year ago did I see the value in LinkedIn. I'll be completely honest with you. So a friend of mine suggested I start becoming more active on LinkedIn, posting content, posting my suggestions, my advice. And I was like, nah, that's not for me. So I was like, no, posting content online is not for me. I don't even have a Facebook or Instagram account.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm now posting content was kind of a new thing for me. And I started posting content, and the engagement was quite good. And I thought, okay. And then I started getting presented with a lot of opportunities. People either wanted investment for their businesses, or people wanting to utilize my services. So I'm like, okay, this is fantastic. And it's also good to help young people that are kind of coming into business. They have no idea what they're doing, and they need guidance and advice. So I get messages daily from young people. So look, I'm 21 years old. I want to do a business. I don't know how to do it. And can you help me?
Yeah.
I said, listen, mate, here's my number. Give me a call. We'll have a chat. So the fact that you're helping people and giving them some advice and guidance, and obviously being presented with opportunities, it's a win-win scenario. Posting content on LinkedIn is not for everyone, though. Like you do need to kind of get out from the shadows and then be out there and kind of post, and you need to be consistent with it to do the videos. It's not for everyone, and I can be inconsistent with my posting at times.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine, Lisa Tay, who sends me a message in the morning. She goes, do a video, post something. I'm like, all right, I'll do something, just hang in there. But like I said, the benefit of LinkedIn has been amazing. I win so much business from LinkedIn. I prospect on LinkedIn. I win great candidates from LinkedIn. For me, it's been an absolute game changer for the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've invested in a few businesses that I found via LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I reached out to you to do this podcast on LinkedIn. If it didn't exist, then we wouldn't have access to people. Like on Friday, I'm talking to Fred Chubesta. I was so shocked that he said yes to being on my podcast. But this is the world.
Fred loves the camera. What are you talking about? He loves the camera. He did go with an envelope, or Fred.
That's it. But you touched on something before about helping young entrepreneurs and people who want to start a business, and that's really what this podcast is all about, is helping young people tap into their purpose and follow their own path and not follow the path that their parents want them to.
Yep.
To uni and doing all that shit when they don't really want to do it. So what's your advice to young people out there who are thinking about starting a business? Because you've had many businesses. I'm sure that not all of them have been a success. It's not easy. I think that being an entrepreneur is only suited to certain people who have a certain disposition. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, debate. Can you learn entrepreneurship, or are you born with it? But that's a whole different debate. When I first started out in 2004, my first business, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have a lot of online resources that you can learn from. So my advice to the young guys out there and young girls is self-learn. So invest time in reading. Learn from the best of the best. Read their books. See how they've done it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You just need to execute correctly. It's all about execution. The idea is secondary to execution. You could start a new business in almost any industry and do well if you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, learn it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started in 2004, I was an absolute muppet. Had no idea what I was doing. The wild west, and even my second business at 28, I was still a muppet. I couldn't read financials. I couldn't manage. I was terrible at managing people. I had no idea what I was doing, and I didn't invest in self-learning.
Yeah.
Like, if I could turn back time now, I would spend more time reading and watching videos and listening to audiobooks, because there's so much free content out there that all the information you need is there. You don't need to do a degree and do an entrepreneurship course. There's so much free content. You can learn from the best of the best. They've all written books. All of them have written books. Learn from these people. And then if you've got an idea, just go hard at it. You don't need a huge amount of money for every single business. My digital marketing business, I set up with $400. The last one, was $12,000. Like, it's not a huge amount of money. If you don't have $12,000, I'm sure you could raise it from friends and family. There's always an angle to grow a business, but you need to have the right execution, the focus, and forget about weekends and 9 till 5:30. That doesn't exist. You need to put the work in.
Exactly. Yeah. Great advice.
It's like even during COVID, I said to my guys, weekends and 9 to 5:30 no longer exist. To survive this, we need to work our bloody asses off.
Yeah.
I need you working from 8 until 7. And if you can't give that to me, I had one person say, if I'm going to work past 5:30, I won't be paid overtime. And I said, mate, I'm going to do one thing better. I'm going to allow you to keep your job. And I said, I'm not an asshole, but man, it's a bloodbath out there right now. Businesses are going under. Mm-hmm. We need to work twice as hard to get through this, battle through this, so we come out even stronger than we went in. So I don't think people realize how tough it's going to get with Corona and COVID. I think when JobKeeper runs out in September, if that does run out, I think unemployment's going to go through the roof. At the moment, we're kicking the can down the road. It's all happy days right now. We're getting the $750 a week. But when that tap is turned off, what's going to happen? Employees can no longer afford to pay their employees. There's a shitstorm brewing right now. So
I agree. I think there's going to be an aftershock, and people are in denial at the moment, and they're all just thinking everything's peachy. But I agree. I think that when all the government support runs out, it's going to get very tough. So on that, have your businesses been impacted by COVID? Like, have you seen a decline?
Yeah, good question. Yes, we've definitely been impacted, and the reason being a big chunk of our business deals with SMEs, and SMEs just aren't spending right now in most industries. There's two scenarios. They either have the money and don't want to spend it, or just don't have the money to invest in marketing or software development.
Yeah.
So yes, we have been impacted, but we've pivoted the business to focus more on medium to large enterprise. So our international businesses, some have actually grown during COVID. The ones in Australia have definitely been impacted more. But I just did the P&Ls. I got the P&Ls yesterday from all the businesses overseas, and they're doing extremely well. So it's how you structure and frame your business. If you're going purely for the SMEs, in my industry, you're toast, you're finished. You need to go to medium to large enterprise, because they are still investing in digital. The SMEs, they're just trying to survive right now.
Exactly. It's pretty interesting times. It's character building, and I think
it sure is.
Notice from a HR perspective is that employees have actually started valuing their employment and the fact that they have a job, and it's changed the mindset of a lot of people that were all about, well, what can I get? What can you give me?
Take.
Yeah.
It's completely changed previously, and I hate to say this, the power was with the employees. Mm-hmm. I want this, I want this. Now it's like, now I want to keep my job. What do I need to do for the company to help to make sure that we win? And I'm not saying every single person, but I'm saying a select few have that mindset, and they've kind of changed the mindset to now, look, I'm in it for the long run. I want to help the company win. And what can I do? It's completely changed the dynamic between employers and employees. Employers with terrible balance sheets, you're going to see going to be wiped out in the next 6 months. People with no cash in the bank, they're gone. It's really sorting I hate to say it's the strong from the weak, the ones that run very strong businesses with very good balance sheets, they have strong cash flow, but they're going to do well. The ones that don't, they're wiped out.
I would agree. It's pretty scary, but I think that it's a reset that the world needed in many ways.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I actually sort of agree with you. I think there are a lot of businesses trading that probably shouldn't have been trading.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also industries.
Essentially.
Yeah, it's true. But there's also industries like hospitality and tourism that I feel for, and there's nothing they could have done right now. It is what it is, and they had great businesses with strong cash flow, but their industry was just annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
So I was speaking to one of the founders of Flight Centre last week, and they had 2 months of cash in the bank in case something like this had ever happened. And I think 2 months of cash was $500 million in cash in the bank.
Shit.
And they burned through it within 2 months and had to raise another $700 million and obviously cut expenses to get through the next 18 months. So crazy money.
Yeah, it is. So I just want to ask you a question about, you kind of touched on it before. If you could go back in time and give yourself some advice as a business owner, what would the one thing be that you said to yourself?
I would first of all start a business when I was 18. Started business at 18 and fail. Yep. Hopefully not. If I did fail, not a problem. At least I learned. Then I would hire better people from day one. Where I fell down initially, I hired based on price rather than talent and skills and experience. Yep. So instead of paying $70,000 for someone decent, I was paying $50,000 or $45,000. That person ended up costing me $400,000 in mistakes. So I would have hired better people from day one. So hire A graders rather than D and C. So that's pretty easy. It's all about the people. It's not about me running the business. It's like, do I have a strong team that's going to help me drive the business forward? So it's all about the people. Always is. Yeah,
great advice. So what's the future look like for Nick Bell? Where do you want to be in 5-10 years? What's the plan?
5 years. I'm lucky to plan ahead 3 months from now. But we'll hopefully be alive still in 5 years, 10 years. Look, at the end of the day, I love doing what I'm doing. Launching new businesses. We just launched in Malaysia in March this year. So not a great time. Right at the start of COVID, we opened an office in KL. So it wasn't a great time, but we actually just broke even last week. So there is business out there if you know what you're doing. Look, launching new agencies internationally. I'm working on a new business at the moment called Listnic. That's LISNIC.com with a friend of mine called Lisa Tay. That's a mentor-mentee platform. So it connects mentees with a business coach or a mind coach. It's all done virtually. So that's in progress right now. So that's going to take a lot of time up, expand on Removify. The thing is, I've got so many businesses that I'm trying to keep my head above water at the moment with all that's going on. So hopefully in 5 to 10 years, I can probably breathe a bit more, and I haven't taken more workload on, but we'll see.
We'll see. It sounds like you're a bit of a serial entrepreneur.
I don't know why I keep asking for more work. You have to love the journey and the process of building something. Mm-hmm. If you get into the business to make money and that's it, and I know it's cliche, but you're in it the wrong reason. When I first started in the early days, for me it was about money. I'm not going to lie to you. And if anyone says otherwise, most of talking shit. But these days, man, it's like I enjoy the process. I wake up in the morning going, what am I going to do today? What are we going to modify? How are we going to improve on this? This is what I enjoy doing, working with the guys, brainstorming ideas. You need to enjoy the process. If you don't do it, then after 3 or 4 years, you'll just go, I'm tired of this business. But this is my 12th year doing the business and I still love it.
There you go. There you go. There's some good advice there. Like, I think everybody starts out thinking that there's some kind of get rich quick scheme. Like, you know, with your skincare business, it's like, I'm going to invest $100,000 and bam, I'm going to make it. But we all know that that's not the case. Well, anyone who's been doing it long enough, I started my first business 10 years ago. And
really? 10 years?
10 years, yep.
What's your business? What's your main business?
So my main business is HR Gurus. So it's a HR consulting business. And we essentially provide an outsourced HR service for the SME space. So interestingly, during COVID, we only had 2 clients cancel their retainers.
That's great. Well done.
Yeah, everyone kept us on and we've picked up quite a few new clients. So I think that HR is something that is really needed right now because of all this shit that's going on. So we have had to pivot and had to change pretty much the way that we do everything. So I think it's really about, you can't be attached to things or certain ways of doing things. You need to be quick and nimble and just let things go if they're not working. So
100%. If you haven't got your USP sorted, your unique selling point in place, then you're not going to survive this. And you need to improve on your USP. That's absolutely critical, because why would they choose your business over a direct competitor? And at the moment, everyone's fighting for a buck. $1 now was the equivalent to $10 3 months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Money is yes. So how do you beat your competition? That's what you need to think about. And that's what we've been working on for the past 3 months. How do we be better than the other 5,000 agencies in Australia? And that's what you need to think about. And that's what you need to refine. If you're not refining your business right now, bye-bye.
Exactly. Everyone kind of needs to reinvent themselves and look at what they're doing, and the people or the businesses that hang on to who they were 3 months ago are essentially going to die. But I want to go a little bit left of centre now. So the other business I have is Generation Us, and it's all about millennials, and I'm actually doing a lot of research into the millennial mindset because I find it quite fascinating how many young millennial entrepreneurs they are and how quickly they've achieved success.
Yep.
So what is your daily routine? How do you keep sane? Because you have so many balls in the air. I'd be really fascinated to know, how do you work on yourself? Like, what time do you get up every day? You talked about reading and listening to podcasts, but what's a day in the life of Nick Bell look like?
Yeah, you've got to have structure throughout your day. If you don't have that, then it's an absolute shit show. It's like this and this and this here all over the place. Without boring the audience, I'll be quick with this. Wake up in the morning around 6, I exercise in the morning. And then after exercise, I start doing the morning huddles. And so a morning huddle for me is a Zoom call with my Removify business. Then I do the Apps Core business huddle. Then I do Hong Kong, Singapore. So I do daily huddles with each management team in each business.
Yep.
And the huddle basically consists of, what have you done yesterday? What didn't you do? What are you doing today? And give me details. So who are you going to speak to? What's the deal value? What are we working on today? So basically give me that in 15 minutes. So I did the huddle for the first. Yeah, so I want to know exactly what you're doing. So by doing that, the management team have structure throughout their day, and it makes them accountable to make sure they get that done. And we were doing this pre-COVID as well. So when COVID came, it didn't really change the structure of our business of what we're doing daily, because we've been doing that for the past 2 years. So I do the huddles for the first 2 hours, and then I start working through my to-do list. I've got this document here. I start working through my to-do list, and I just start marking things off every single day. And it's a combination of Zoom meetings, things I've got to get through personally. And then I wrap up around 6 or 7, and then I spend time with the kids, and then it's back on the laptop again. So last night I was
working. Do you work a week, do you reckon?
Sorry?
How many hours do you work a week or a day?
Probably 10 to 12 hours a day. And then I work on Sundays as well. I work Sundays. I like to get my admin done on Sundays. Yeah. But last night I was writing content for the new website listing, and I like to write the content and then give it the content writers to finish. Just stuff like that. So there's always something to do. Like there's always something. Like at the moment, revamping our blogs because I think the blogs can be laid out better. Just stuff like that. I know. I enjoy it. So yeah. Structure. You've got to have a to-do list. Like to all the young people out there, get one of these. It's so important. And you can do it virtually, you can do it online, but I like to write mine and then mark it off. So it's on my desk, I can see it.
Yeah. Love it. So what do you do to unwind and relax?
Have a few drinks with friends. I love going out and having a good time. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to Friday. Yeah, I don't play hard these days, but like Friday night, I'm going to have some friends for a few drinks at a bar. But I'll be home by 12. But just when I have a few drinks, blow off some steam, have a chat. For me, that's having a good time. Yeah. Or traveling with my family. We'd like to travel a fair bit pre-COVID. For me, that's enough. And exercising in the morning. If I can get that, I'm in a good mood for the rest of the day. If I don't exercise, my game is off all day.
Yeah.
Like most people, once you exercise, you're like, after you finish, like, I'm glad I did that. Getting to the gym is always a hard thing. So
it is. No, it's great advice, and every single successful person I speak to has structure and discipline in their day. It's the difference between, I think, high performance and average performance. If you can be focused and also have that to-do list and really map out what you're going to do and just get it done, then obviously it's all about action. You can talk the talk, but until you actually do shit, what's the point?
The biggest downfall of business operators globally is they talk too much shit. Pardon the French. They talk and lack delivery and execution. Like over the past 10 years, I've met so many talkers that promise the world and going to deliver this return and rah, and it always falls to pieces because they're great talkers, but they just don't put the work in. And even with brokers, financial brokers, my God, they are just talkers. There's a Warren Buffett meme, and it's basically a broker on Wall Street is driving a Mercedes-Benz. His client is driving a Toyota. The brokers are making all the money, and the clients are making nothing.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, there's too much talking in business owners, and they just don't deliver. So even investing in startups these days, I'm very wary about investing in a startup. It's literally legalized gambling. Investing in a startup. Why would you put that money into Facebook stocks or Amazon stocks, where there's a good chance I'm going to get a return on my investment? If I give you a startup $200,000, there's a good chance that's going down the toilet.
Yep, I would agree. It is. I've never looked at it like that, but it is. It's like gambling. I guess some people, venture capitalists, they love the gamble, the thrill of the roulette wheel.
Yeah, but venture capitalists and private equity firms, generally the people that run these businesses are quite smart, and they look at the numbers and they invest in businesses, not always, but most of the time, post revenue. So they've got revenue.
Okay.
Pre-revenue businesses. You've given me an idea on paper, and you value that business at $3 million. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And in the early days, I was a sucker for that shit. And I gave all these startups money, and they were just absolute muppets. These days, I'm super selective because it's 1 out of 10 will make money.
Yeah.
So the other 9, you've done your dough.
Well, that's it. I think everyone wants to be an entrepreneur these days. It's like the new thing. It's like everyone wants to start a business and they think they can do it. But I think that, yeah, 1 in 10.
1 in 10. And all the opportunities that I've missed over the years,
Yeah.
guess how many actually made money?
Probably, I don't know, 1 out of 50, 0.
0. I've been presented with hundreds of opportunities. Not one of them ever turned into a proper business.
Yeah.
This shows that if I give you money, basically I'm throwing that money down the toilet. I should just give it to charity.
Yeah, well, it's all dependent on that person, and you're essentially giving that person money. And I was listening to another podcast the other day about a guy who'd been given money from an investor, and it was $200,000, and it just changed his perspective on how he was running the business and how he felt so obligated to that person. But I felt like he was an anomaly because I think a lot of people get the money and then they're just like ching, ching, ching.
100%. Like, it's free money. It's not my money. Free money. I'm going to spend it.
Yeah.
100%. It's like someone's just giving me $200,000 free money. I'm going to spend that shit.
Yeah.
It's very hard to raise money in this economic climate, especially with the stock market the way it is. If you invested in the stock market 3 months ago or 2 months ago, there's a good chance you'd have a 50 to 100% return on a big chunk of your stocks.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I just do that rather than give it to a startup where I may not see a return for 10 years?
Yeah,
and if there's a return.
The person, in the people and their story and their passion, and there is something appealing about that. Like, you want to help people, and if someone's so passionate about their dream, like the thought of being able to help them achieve that, I think is alluring.
It's very idealistic. It is very idealistic that, okay, I want to help them reach their dream, but I also want to see return on my investment.
Yeah.
So if I invest $1 into my business, there's a good chance we can turn that into $10. So why wouldn't I invest more money into my own business?
Yeah.
So I've just been burnt many times with the startup industry, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm just a little bit tinged with it at the moment. My finger's a little bit tinged with it. So I know that if we invest in our own businesses, I can turn $1 into, say, $5 or $10 long term. So why not back yourself rather than backing a complete stranger that you don't know? Yeah,
well, that's right. Well, I could talk to you all day. There's lots of golden nuggets that you've given our listeners.
My doorbell's going.
Your doorbell's going. You got your Uber Eats coming as well?
No, I don't know who that is, but it doesn't matter.
So you're obviously working from home at the moment.
I'm loving ISO, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Will I return back to the office? Unlikely. But it's also relative. If I lived in a share house with 10 people, which I did in my 20s, I would hate isolation.
Yes. Yeah.
So it depends on your environment. At the moment, I've got my own office. I'm comfortable here. But if you live in a share house or a 1-bedroom studio, like a studio, that's completely different.
Yeah, I agree. It's been really interesting to see how people have reacted in this environment. Some people are thriving, other people are losing it. I think it was a bit of a roller coaster. Like, in the beginning, I was freaking out. You know, when you're an employer and you have employees that you feel responsible for.
Yep.
I started having all of these thoughts around, how am I going to pay these people? What if all of our clients cancel their retainers? What if?
And the negativity gets in there, doesn't it? It gets in there and festers. I was the same. Oh shit! I'm wiped out. I'm ruined. Life's over.
Pretty much, I had those thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. You just battle. You work through it, and there's always an angle.
Always, yeah. And then I calmed down. Like, I lost 2 kilos in the first 2 weeks of isolation, just from stress. Like, just weird. And then, like, I started thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to go and get a job. Like, you know, I've got a family, I've got a mortgage. And then you start having all these irrational thoughts. And then I was like, hang on a minute, like, there's always a solution. There's always a way out. Calm down. And also, I have to be calm for my employees. If they see me losing my shit, they're all going to lose their shit. So it's interesting how some of my clients reacted as well, because some of them just were, okay, well, I just need to get rid of everyone. I'm going to make everyone redundant. So hang on, just
I think you need to calm your staff, but they also need a reality check. Reality is this is going to get hard. We need everyone to put the work in to get through this. And I had a conversation with my entire team from day one. I said it's going to be a fucking bloodbath out there, and it's not going to be easy. We all need to fucking bums up, heads down, and work. Yeah. Otherwise, if they understand the reality, they're going to go, "Oh, it's okay. I'm going to get my paycheck." It's like, no. It is tough.
Exactly, and it's that open communication and honesty, and I think that's employees really value that. Like, don't fucking sugarcoat it. Tell me what's going on, and having that contact really quickly about, hey, this is pretty serious, and I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm going to do my absolute best to keep the doors open. But everyone needs to pull their finger out. So. Yeah, it's be really interesting to see what happens over the next 3 to 6 months.
6 to 12 months.
Yep. Yeah.
So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's lovely and everyone's making money and the economy bounces back, but I just can't see it happen right now. So
it's gonna hit hard, and it's gonna hit for a long time, but as you said,
let me ask you a question. So, in the past 3 months, have you been buying clothes?
No.
So you've been buying food, obviously, but have you been buying any luxury items?
No.
And
even with food, like when I used to go shopping, I love food. I wasn't looking at the prices of anything like pre-COVID. Now, I was like, okay, I need to fucking tighten my belt here. I can't be buying food willy-nilly. Like, I've got to the point where I've, like the dish tablets that go in the dishwasher.
that's next level.
I'm fucking cutting them in half, because I'm like,
that's a whole ball game.
I'm like changed my complete mindset, and I'm being like really frugal. And my husband's like, okay, you're taking it a bit far now. Like,
that's extreme.
But I'm like, I could, but it brings everything into perspective, right? Like, it just changes the way that you view money and how much money you have. And
correct.
So,
but you're not spending, I'm not spending, my wife's not spending. So what happens to the economy? If there's no one spending, it stalls. And that's what's happened. So there's $750 a week that everyone's receiving. They're just putting that in their bank accounts and keeping it, and not releasing it back into the economy.
Yeah,
there's so much pain coming because there's no one spending. Businesses can't survive. Unemployment's going to skyrocket. It's game time.
Yeah. Well, let's get back on here in a year's time, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
See how it all unfolded. But thank you so much for giving up your time and sharing with us your wisdom. It's been very interesting to hear the story behind Nick Bell. And we'll be sharing all your handles in the podcast when we release.
Thank you for that.
Your social media handles, yep.
Not my love handles, thank you.
Love handles. I don't think you look like you've got love handles, but anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and it's been my pleasure having you as a guest. And thanks again.
Cool. Thanks, Anne. Appreciate it. Take care.